Thank you for joining us. We hope you enjoyed this edition of News Today. For the solutions to today's quiz and to access the PDF version of News Today, remember to visit the provided links in the description below. Hello and welcome back to this edition of News Today. Without delay, let's dive straight into today's headlines. The US aims to institutionalize new minilateral grouping called Quad. India in trade deficit with 9 of the top 10 trading partners. Cyclonic storm Remal has made landfall along the West Bengal and Bangladesh coast. NASA launches small climate satellite to measure heat loss from Earth's poles. Archaeological Survey of India confirms Neolithic age rock carvings in Goa's Mausi village. The 10-year sovereign bond yield falls to near 1-year low. Starting with the first news. The US aims to institutionalize a new minilateral grouping called Quad. In a move that highlights the growing importance of minilateral cooperation between smaller groups of nations, the United States has taken steps to formalize a new four-way security arrangement in the Indo-Pacific region called the Quad. Earlier this month, the US Secretary of Defense met with his counterparts from Australia, the Philippines and Japan, the purpose of which is claimed to institutionalize and launch the Quad as a robust four-way security arrangement in the Indo-Pacific. This new quadrilateral grouping underscores the rising prominence of minilateralism in international relations. So what exactly is minilateralism? It's an international relations concept where small groups of nations collaborate to address specific issues, whether they be security, economic or technological. Unlike larger, more cumbersome multilateral institutions, these minilateral frameworks are informal, flexible and voluntary, allowing nations with shared interests or capabilities to work together more efficiently. The rise in minilateral ties among the countries is attributed to reasons such as dysfunction of traditional multilateral institutions. For example, the World Trade Organization's dispute settlement system has faced gridlock due to diverse interests and ideologies among member states. Minilaterals, on the other hand, offers flexibility and agility, enabling quicker decision-making and more targeted cooperation. A prime example is the Supply Chain Resilience Initiative between Australia, India and Japan. Moreover, the changing balance of power has spurred the emergence of these smaller alliances. With a more aggressive and assertive China on the global stage, groupings like the Quad and AUKUS have formed in response, aiming to maintain stability and security in their respective regions. However, the rise of minilaterals is not without concerns. Their legitimacy and inclusiveness are often questioned, as they can potentially undermine the interests of countries in the global south. Additionally, smaller groups may lack the collective resources to tackle complex global challenges like climate change efficiently. There's also the risk of heightened tensions and divisions among countries, particularly with the growth of exclusionary bloc politics in strategic areas. Lastly, the less formal structure of minilaterals can lead to issues of accountability and transparency, raising concerns about inadequate democratic oversight. As the Quad and other minilateral groupings continue to shape international relations, it will be crucial to address these concerns to ensure that such alliances can effectively contribute to global stability and cooperation.
In our next news, an official data from the Union Ministry of Commerce and Industry for the fiscal year 23-24 has revealed that India has recorded trade deficits with 9 out of its 10 top trading partners. A trade deficit occurs when a country's value of imports exceeds its exports. Let's begin by discussing current status of India's external trade financial year 23-24. China, the USA, UAE, Russia and Saudi Arabia are India's largest trading partners. India's trade deficit with China, Russia, South Korea and Hong Kong increased as compared to 2022-23, while it narrowed with UAE, Saudi Arabia, Indonesia and Iraq. On the other hand, USA, Netherlands, UK, Belgium and Italy are top 5 trading partners with which India has trade surplus. Furthermore, India's higher trade deficit can be attributed to various factors, including reliance on imported inputs like crude oil and pharmaceutical ingredients, changing consumption patterns with increased demand for consumer durables and luxury goods, structural factors such as suboptimal growth of the manufacturing sector, higher logistics cost and infrastructure bottlenecks. Domestic policies like an inverted duty structure, frequent bans on exports of commodities, suboptimal utilization of free trade agreements, and imposition of non-tariff barriers by developed countries have also contributed to the trade deficit. A higher trade deficit can have both negative and positive impacts on the economy. On the negative side, it can lead to depletion of foreign exchange reserves due to the need to pay for excess imports. raising concerns of domestic currency depreciation. It can also widen the current account deficit, adversely affecting the country's credit rating and raising borrowing costs. There are strategic implications due to sustained trade deficits, particularly for essential products or critical sectors. On the positive side, a trade deficit can provide access to a wider range of goods and increase domestic investment if the deficit is driven by imports of capital goods. While India's trade deficit with several major trading partners is a cause for concern, it also presents opportunities for access to a wider range of goods and increased investment. Addressing the underlying factors contributing to the deficit through policy measures and structural reforms will be crucial for sustainable economic growth.
Ahead in the news, cyclonic storm Remal has made a landfall along the West Bengal and Bangladesh coasts. The name Remal, chosen by Oman, means sand in Arabic, that reflects the diverse cultural influences that shape the naming of tropical cyclones. But what exactly are tropical cyclones? These rapidly rotating storms are non-frontal low-pressure systems originating over tropical oceans. Known by various names such as cyclones in Indian Ocean, hurricanes in Atlantic, typhoons in Western Pacific and South China Sea, and willy-willies in Western Australia, they derive their energy from the condensation in towering cumulonimbus clouds around the storm center, also known as the eye. The eye, a region of calm with subsiding air, is a defining feature of these powerful storms. However, when they reach land, the moisture supply stops and the storm dissipates. If we talk about the favorable conditions for tropical cyclone formation, several factors come into play. Firstly, sea surface temperatures must be higher than 27 degrees Celsius. Secondly, the presence of the Coriolis force is crucial, as tropical cyclones are not formed near the equator due to the absence of this force. Small variations in vertical wind speed and a pre-existing weak low pressure area are also necessary prerequisites. To help prepare for and mitigate the impacts of these destructive storms, the India Meteorological Department issues color-coded weather warnings for cyclone-prone areas. The green warning or pre-cyclone watch is issued 72 hours in advance, followed by yellow cyclone alert at least 48 hours before the storm. An orange cyclone warning is issued at least 24 hours in advance, and finally, a red post-landfall outlook is issued at least 12 hours before the cyclone makes landfall. Interestingly, the naming of tropical cyclones is a process governed by the World Meteorological Organization, a specialized agency of the United Nations. A list of cyclone names is prepared by the Tropical Cyclone Regional Body responsible for each ocean basin. For the North Indian Ocean, the WMO or ESCAP panel on tropical cyclones, comprising members from Bangladesh, India, Maldives, Myanmar, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Oman, Thailand, Iran, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, and Yemen, assigns names to tropical cyclones. Each member country provides a list of 30 names which are used sequentially, reflecting the diverse cultural and linguistic backgrounds of the region. In conclusion, the landfall of cyclonic storm Remal serves as a reminder of the power and destructive potential of tropical cyclones.
In our next news, NASA has launched one of the two climate satellites under PREFIRE, Polar Radiant Energy, in the Far Infrared Experiment mission. The PREFIRE mission consists of two shoebox-sized cube satellites, or CubeSats, designed to measure how much heat the Arctic and the Antarctic radiate into the space and how this influences the planet's climate. The mission will help scientists better understand the heat budget of the planet. Now, what exactly is the heat budget of the Earth? It is the balance between the amount of heat incoming to Earth from the Sun and the amount of heat outgoing from the Earth into space. Factors such as greenhouse gas emissions, reduction in ozone layer thickness, and melting glaciers can cause disturbance in this heat budget. An imbalance in the heat budget can have significant consequences. Accumulated heat in Earth's components, like the atmosphere and land, is fueling global warming. Furthermore, the melting of ice decreases the Earth's white surface area, leading to less solar energy being reflected, a phenomenon known as lower albedo. Albedo is the reflectivity of solar radiation from a surface. Additionally, the ocean absorbs excessive heat, affecting oceanic circulation patterns like the Atlantic meridional overturning circulation. These changes can have far-reaching impacts on the planet's climate and ecosystems. NASA's PREFIRE mission, with its innovative CubeSat technology, promises to shed light on the Earth's heat budget providing valuable insights into the intricate balance that governs our planet's climate and helping inform strategies to mitigate and adapt to climate change. In our next news, the Archaeological Survey of India has confirmed the discovery of Neolithic age rock carvings in Moxie village of Goa. The carvings of animals such as zebus, bulls, and antelopes were found etched into the metabasalt rock along the dry riverbed of the Zarmi River. Moving along, let us discuss about the prehistoric rock paintings of India in brief. Upper Paleolithic periods paintings are considered as the earliest paintings reported in India. They depict linear representations in green and dark red hues, showcasing animal figures like bison, elephants, tigers, as well as stick-like human figures. Notable sites from this period include Bhimbetka in Madhya Pradesh and Jwalapuram in Andhra Pradesh. The Mesolithic period paintings boast the largest number of rock paintings, with human scenes predominating, depicting hunting in groups and community dances. Animals were painted in a naturalistic style, while humans were depicted in a stylistic manner. Pachmari and Adamgarh Hills in Madhya Pradesh are significant sites for this era. Paintings from the Neolithic Chalcolithic period often showcase pottery and metal tools, with predominant colors being white and red, possibly made by grinding hematite and limestone respectively. Men appear adventurous, and animals are portrayed as youthful and majestic. The Chambal region and Daimabad in Maharashtra are notable sites from this period. Prehistoric rock paintings hold immense significance, offering insights into the artistic expression, social life, cultural practices, and environmental surroundings of our ancestors. They depict family life, mundane events, clothing, food habits, ritualistic practices, and the diverse fauna and flora of the region. The Neolithic age rock carvings in Goa's Moxie village are a valuable addition to India's rich heritage of prehistoric rock art, providing a window into the lives and artistic expressions of our ancient ancestors.
Ahead in the news, the 10-year sovereign bond yield falls to near one-year low. The decline in sovereign bond yield is mainly due to the recent transfer of a record high dividend payout of Rs 2.11 lakh crore by the Reserve Bank of India to the government. This will significantly strengthen the financial position of the government. Moving on, a fall in crude oil prices has also improved market sentiment and spurred buying interest in bonds. Overall, these factors have led to increased prices of bonds and lowered yield. Let's first understand about sovereign bonds. A sovereign bond is a specific debt instrument issued by the government. It can be denominated in both foreign and domestic currency. It promises to pay the buyer a certain amount of interest for a stipulated number of years and repay the face value on maturity. These bonds are preferred by governments to meet their expenditure, as they are similar to taking loans from the market. The yield of sovereign bonds is primarily dependent on three factors. Firstly, the creditworthiness, which is the issuing country's perceived ability to repay their debts. Secondly, country risk, which includes external and internal factors like unrest and wars that tend to jeopardize a country's ability to pay, like the current account deficit. And thirdly, exchange rates, as the countries with volatile economies and high inflation rates have to issue higher interest returns on their bonds compared to more stable ones. Before we conclude, let's also know what is a bond yield. Bond yield is the return on the capital invested on a particular bond, and significantly, bond price and yield are inversely related. As the price of a bond goes up, its yield goes down. Conversely, as the yield goes up, the price of the bond goes down. Finally, a fall in government bond yields lowers borrowing costs across the economy, as sovereign debt yields are the benchmarks for determining the price of corporate borrowing.
In today's Personality in News, we will discuss Rash Behari Bose. He was a prominent revolutionary leader of India's freedom struggle and was remembered on his birth anniversary on the 25th of May. Rash Behari Bose was born in Bardhaman district in Bengal and was deeply inspired by the French Revolution of 1789. Let's discuss his key contributions. He was an active member of Yugantar group of revolutionaries under leadership of Motilal Roy. He acted as an effective link between revolutionaries of Punjab and United Provinces and Bengal. He was also involved in Delhi conspiracy case about the bomb attack on Viceroy Lord Hardinge in 1912. Apart from that, he founded the Indian Independence League 1942 in Tokyo and played key role in Gadar movement and in formation of Azad Hind Fauj, that is the Indian National Army. He exemplified values of patriotism, leadership, courage, perseverance, etc.
As we conclude today's main news, let's have a look at some quick updates. Recently, Article 329B was invoked by the Election Commission in the Supreme Court for restricting judicial intervention in the poll process. Article 329B states that no election to either House of Parliament or to the House or either House of the Legislature of a state shall be called into question except by an election petition presented to such authority and in such manner as may be provided for by or under any law made by appropriate legislature. Recently, Zimbabwe launched the gold-backed currency called ZiG. Gold-backed currency has fixed value directly linked to gold and is convertible into gold. Statement released by WTO's Committee on Import Licensing showed Japan and China have formally raised concern over India's laptop import licensing measure announced in August last year but was soon reversed. CIL was established under Article 4 of the Agreement on Import Licensing Procedures. The Kerala government allows the Kerala Forest Development Corporation to plant eucalyptus trees. Eucalyptus belongs to the myrtle family and is native to Australia, Tasmania and nearby islands. The Vice President inaugurated the Centre for Carbon Fibre and Prep Regs at National Aerospace Laboratories in Bangalore. Carbon fibre is a polymer which is a form of graphite consisting of thin, strong crystalline filaments of carbon. The Society for Applied Microwave Electronics Engineering and Research, or SAMIR, exchanged MOU on magnetic resonance imaging and technology transfer of linear accelerator with industry. Linear accelerator is the device used for external beam radiation treatments for patients with cancer. Kaba Kianu becomes the first woman from Nishi tribe of Arunachal Pradesh to scale Mount Everest. Nishi tribe, previously known as Dafla, is the largest ethnic group in Arunachal Pradesh. Recently, a new dispute emerged between Russia and Estonia centered around the removal of navigation markers on the Narva River, which forms part of the border between the two countries. Before we wrap up today's bulletin, it's time to put your knowledge to the test in today's segment of Test Your Learning. Thank you for joining us. We hope you enjoyed this edition of News Today. For the solutions to today's quiz and to access the PDF version of News Today, remember to visit the provided links in the description below.